Welcome to the Where's the Finish podcast. We are three runners talking to our friends, sharing stories about running, training, life, and asking the essential question, where's the finish? WTF.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Where's the Finish podcast. I'm Shae.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Kevin.
And we have an amazing guest here with us. It is Cocco.
The running ninja.
What's up, Lewis?
Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know it's been a kind of a little bit of a long time coming here. We've talked about having you on for a while, internally here, and Shae and I just did this fun adventure down in your neck of the woods. So we'll talk about that some today as well. But we're glad to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I've been same here. I've been seeing the little Facebook shares and clips about the podcast, and I see that it's been picking up steam, and just happy to be on here and be able to talk shop with you guys. So thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah, the shop we are going to talk is running the mean streets of Miami. Because that is what you do, and that is what you make people do. So you're a multifaceted race director.
Yeah.
Do we want to jump into races first?
No, let's talk about a little bit about his background and his history, because a lot of us, I don't know.
Sorry, my brain is still scrambled from being in the sauna.
I know that he's called the Ninja, and I noticed that there's when we're sitting here looking at his video screen, he's got a martial arts studio banner back behind him. And I've heard funny things about you running inside that little building, and we've seen you out on trail a lot. I mean, you actually do a little bit of social media stuff yourself too. So be interesting to hear about all that.
I've been a little all over the place. So maybe spread myself a bit too thin over the last year or so. But yeah, I've been the martial art thing has been a lifelong, since day one. My family had a studio for almost 40 years, and basically, just been born into that lifestyle, and I carried it on. I've been in this exact building for 17 years now.
Wow.
Oh,
and
okay.
It is, yeah. Thank you. It is, it's home to the Miami 100, the Miami 50-50, all of our, Miami Ultra Race Series events. And yes, this is where I did my kind of ridiculous indoor runs. There was more than one. So that all, yeah.
So take us back in time then, like.
I blame COVID. I blame COVID.
So you grew up in a martial arts family. Does that mean when you were like a toddler, you were running around your family studio and kicking boards and stuff as a kid?
Pretty much. Just started right from the beginning. My dad had me, stretching and training and doing drills since I was, like you said, a toddler. And then officially, my father, I'm from New York originally. So after my parents moved down to Miami in '85, he was a pretty high-ranking disciple of his master at the time, and he encouraged him to basically start teaching down here in Miami. And so that's what he did. Started out of my parents' patio, and they quickly moved on to an actual storefront studio, and just been doing that forever. So I don't really know life without it.
So what discipline did your dad teach?
Taekwondo.
And is that what you teach also?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Any other disciplines that you've studied?
I mean, when you spend so much time doing, martial arts, you study a lot of other disciplines. You make friends with other mentors from other styles, from different arts. And so it's one thing if you kind of are going casually as a recreational student a few times a week to class and you stuck around for a bunch of years, but when you're literally living, in a studio all day, all you're doing is training. So you see other styles, you study other stuff. I'm a big fight fan, so I appreciate other fighters, other disciplines, other styles. So you learn from them. You learn from, other friends and stuff like that. And so, yes. So what I teach Taekwondo traditionally and sport-wise, but there's influence and mix from other things as well.
Gotcha. Now, have you been, obviously, as a kid, when you were working up to the level where you're at now, where you're teaching, there must have been some competition involved. But did you do any competition back as a kid, or do you still do that now?
I did quite a bit of competition. I started competing as a kid. I did some as a teen. I was on and off with it. I got a little more serious, actually, as an adult after school and stuff. I kind of decided to get back into it, and my wife, Maylene encouraged me, and she kind of got me somewhat organized and trying to get on the circuit and, make a national team and whatnot. And, I had some success. I never, reached my ultimate goal. I had some pretty good runs at it. I won some, nice tournaments, some different international meets, had some high placements, but, some injuries, some other things just didn't work out. I had it in 2010, I was trying to make a run for hopefully to, make U.S. team trials and push for possibly make an Olympic spot. That was always a big goal. And at nationals that year, I missed out on a sudden death point in a match for making the trials. So that kind of sucked.
Ouch.
And then that was hard. That was the same year my son was born. There's a lot going on. He was born preemie. It was a very stressful time, got through, got to nationals, had a good run at it, just didn't make it. And then came back the following year and was pretty dominant in my weight class, and it was looking like a good year to make a national team and, just kind of keep moving forward. And I was at a state qualifier and was few seconds away from wrapping up the gold medal match, and I kicked my opponent. He was kind of coming at me with like a Hail Mary, because he had to knock me out to be able to win, and I could have just backed up, but I decided to try to hit him one more time, and he ended up kicking the outside of my knee pretty brutally hard, and tore my ACL.
Wow.
So that was kind of like the beginning of the end for my competitive career right there. After I found out, and got it properly MRI'd and all that, my ACL was like exploded.
So he kicked you so hard that can happen.
Oh yeah.
You can kick somebody and it just like makes their ACL blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
that's horrible.
I got back kicked. Yeah,
humans are so fragile.
Well, yes and no for sure. I mean, the back kick is like basically the hardest kick a human can generate, and to get kicked with the heel on the outside of your knee, it was just a freak accident. It was like nothing. My opponent's a friend and everything, and it was just a weird occurrence, and the way my leg was extended at the time, it just wasn't a good collision. And it ended right then and there. Like, we just kind of, the buzzer sounded, shook hands. I just hobbled off a little bit and spent the rest of the weekend with my wife in Orlando. And then, I'm like, I really think something's wrong with my knee. I'm like, it's pretty bad. I'm pretty rough and tumble. So like, I don't really baby myself with anything. So I just kind of hobbled around, no ice, no nothing, but I could tell that something was really wrong. And I was able to get it MRI'd pretty soon after. And, I had a client that was doing private lessons with me, luckily, and he was a radiologist, and he's like, yeah, just come to my office. And he's like, dude, your ACL is gone. Yeah, he's like, your ACL. And I thought he was messing with me, and I was like, dude, don't fuck with me. And he's like, no, your ACL is gone. And I'm like, oh my God. And so then it was the whole process of, trying to get a surgery scheduled and all that stuff. And I was I was like, big chip on my shoulder. I'm going to come back so fast and I'm going to compete again and I'm going to do all this stuff. And I did, but probably too fast.
Okay, so wait, so the ACL surgery is it like, I've heard they do like cadaver?
They could do a lot.
I did
of stuff.
cadaver. I chose cadaver.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have.
So
Go ahead.
has that made you kick harder? Did you get a ninja cadaver ACL?
I don't know. I always mess around every once in a while. Like, I'm like, I'm not 100% me, right?
So I'm
like, that's what.
So if you had moved to Florida in '85, and you remember that, obviously, then you're probably close to the same age as I am. Then I imagine we're about the same. So I just, I have several people that I know that are in that realm of Taekwondo. And I'm just curious, what your thoughts were on when people started coming out with all this mixed martial arts and stuff, because, I think a lot of people were in other sports and now all these people seem to be migrating towards mixed martial arts and it's changed these types of sports quite a bit, these combat sports. What's your thought on that?
So what I always try to explain to everybody, is that, because people like to compare martial arts all the time. And, you see the trash talk from all sides. It's like anything else, who's the GOAT of basketball and who's this and who's that. And it's the same with martial arts. It's like, this is better than this. And, there's no such thing. So like all arts can be great, and really it boils down to the practitioner and the instructor and just how much time you put in. And then in terms of MMA is a sport, right? So it's not an art, it's just a set of rules. And so the rules dictate the strategies and the combat and the way that the combat therefore follows. It's the same with, boxing, taekwondo, karate, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, Greco-Roman wrestling. There are a set of rules that are put in place, and athletes are smart, and coaches as well, and they will over time, they'll evolve to try to take advantage of that, and strategies and tactics and techniques will follow. So, a lot of people don't realize too that MMA has a ton of rules. I mean, it started out when the UFC first came out. I mean, it was brutal. It was no biting and no eye gouging. That was it.
That's it.
Yeah, because I remember back then too when it came out. Yeah,
it was crazy.
It was really brutal.
Yeah, I remember like there's just like blood everywhere every time. Every time there's an MMA, and that's Taekwondo is not like that. Like,
I have watched one MMA fight, and I think I've told you guys this before. It's just really aggressive hugging. Like people are like so aggressively hugging the other person
because they love each other.
They're just like, I'm going to hug you harder, and I love you so much. Hug. Oh, I got excited and I hit the microphone.
She's very excited about aggressive hugging.
I mean, it's evolved a lot. When Hoist Gracie came onto the scene and showed that you don't need to be a bigger opponent, and he was a regular sized man. He wasn't like all jacked or anything like that. He was about 180 pounds, and he was just choking out and submitting opponents that were way bigger and way stronger than him, like left and right. And he kind of just shocked the world and put everybody on to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then, everybody started training Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that really started evolving more and more. And so athletes were really training that heavily. And the way the rules were set up, it did favor some of that as well. But as you said, with the aggressive hugging, like there were no limits on rounds and stuff like that. And matches would get to a point where like two athletes were just exhausted on the floor, like you said, aggressively hugging each other, but unable to finish each other. Mm-hmm. And so matches started getting really boring, and, they had to tweak the rules, change it and all that stuff. And again, over time, people started becoming a little more balanced. They had like their wrestling skills, their submission skills, their boxing skills, their kicking skills. And then it kind of becomes, a game of imposing your will, who's got a better strategy, who's able to exploit their strengths better, than their opponents and this kind of thing. And, it's fascinating, and it keeps evolving and keeps changing. And, again, I have nothing against it. It is a little brutal, you know. From the martial arts side, you know, and from like a warrior side, like wanting to be in a ring or fighting, I completely get it. But as a teacher and as a like humanitarian, it's terrible. Like it really is. And some of these organizations, you know, they need the blood, they need the carnage and the knockouts to try to sell some tickets, and they got guys out there that are killing themselves for a few $1,000 a night, and you know, who knows where they're going to be in a few years. Like the trauma to the brain is not.
I was going to say, like, there's all the talk about football players, and they're wearing giant helmets.
Yeah.
Well, just think about when you're taking a bajillion punches and kicks square
There's a
to the
very
head.
short life expectancy for our career expectancy for someone that's in a combat sport. But there's also all these other benefits. If you're not in there trying to, you know, get yourself to the Olympics or whatever it is that you're competing in. I mean, there is confidence and discipline that comes with those sports that is a really important component to combat sports, and why it's so good for, especially for like young people, to get into it early. I'm assuming you teach a lot of kids too, right?
For sure. I teach all ages, and after, you know, I recovered from my injury, I was already coaching, but I kind of started focusing more on that end, and I was having some pretty good success with my athletes, and I've had a lot of athletes make the U.S. national team, and then,
great.
you know, thank you. And as some of that, like, you know, success starts to come along, other people want to come and do camps with you and training. And so I got there, you know, I got to really do a lot of neat things in terms of coaching and, you know, rub shoulders with the best of the best. And, you know, it's pretty cool. And like Olympic gold medalists are calling you up and they're like, hey, can you coach my athlete who happens to be a world championship, you know, gold medalist like this weekend, because we're in Miami and I'm in Spain, or this and that, and stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. And so I really got into that pretty heavy, and at some point realized that, like, you know, competing is not the best thing for me to pursue anymore, as you know, I'm getting older and I need to actually be able to function 100% so that I can teach and do all this stuff. And then I did kind of stumble upon ultra running.
I was going to say that.
We're looking for the segue.
We're waiting for this segue here.
Yeah, I got to a point where I was like, wait a moment. Man, all this sparring is going to like mess up my running this weekend.
Well, then also, you know, ultra running is kind of a very all-consuming,
Yes.
you know, kind of sport as well.
For sure, 100%. And it actually took me quite some time to really learn how to manage and like adopt the different training principles, because my whole life I've been an explosive athlete and I'm used to all this violence and trauma. And, you know, I've been a sprinter, a jumper, and a striker. And now I'm having to learn how to just like, you know, endure for all these hours, and you're taking all these like slow, shortened little steps. And so especially like post long runs and post races, trying to get back in the studio and, you know, work with my athletes. And you kind of took me a while to realize like, hey, you can't move so quickly right away, you know, after an event. Like you need to let your body heal before you like, you know, tear something. And, you know, so that was like definitely a big learning curve for a while.
So when you're teaching, are you like doing a bunch of examples and everything like that to where you're doing the moves, and that was an issue?
I always, you know, I'm pretty active in terms of teaching and stuff like that. And so like I'm always demonstrating the moves. And sure, I can teach a class. I can teach, you know, classes without having to do anything, because, you know, I've been doing it my whole life. You know, I've been teaching pretty much multiple classes a day, you know, 5 to 7 days a week, depending on the weeks, for the last like 30 years. So I've taught a lot. So like, you know, but for a lot of your students, they need to see the examples. They need to, you know, they need to be able to emulate the way it's done properly and stuff like that. And you know, I've always been pretty hands-on, and I like to get out there and show them how to do it. And of course, with my higher level athletes, I'd still spar with them and train with them, and because they need someone that's at a higher level that can kind of push them. And some of those kids got to a point where they're very good and they're very difficult. So it's good practice to keep up with them.
Well, that
You gotta put the kids in their place.
Yeah.
Well, imagine
For
that.
sure.
I mean,
You gotta beat them real good while they're still young enough, so that psychologically he always has that advantage.
well, that keeps an old man fit, right? And keeps that cardio level up so that you can then kick us. I mean, come on, we're cross training, right? So that's what that is. Keeps you ready for the run.
For sure. I mean, I to this day, like, I still, like, there's nothing, that really compares to sparring, and or combat. Like, if that's something that you've done and you love it, it's hard to, really replicate that. So while I have, grown and I can understand there's phases of life, and so I don't do it nearly as much as I used to, but I'll still strap on the pads and, every once in a while, especially too, like on days where some of my teenagers are just, they're not bringing the intensity or whatnot, I'm like, all right, that's it. Everybody's getting a little bit of a whooping tonight.
Fun.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was an instructor for a while for law enforcement.
Nice.
Nice.
And used a lot of Aikido and some jujitsu and a combination, but it was really based off of the military's model for, their programs and the Army Combatives program. And it's a lot of that's mostly, they've adopted a lot of mixed martial arts into it.
Yeah.
Because it is effective. If you don't have to learn a whole lot of, you don't have to spend years, developing your chi, you can just get in there
but
and just
the
start
difference
whooping.
is you do poke eyeballs and you do punch in the junk and all kinds of stuff in the military. Like, there are no rules when you're fighting somebody in the military.
Well, that's the whole point of training for law enforcement. Is you're just trained to survive. That's all it is.
None rules.
There's no rules. It's about survival.
That's right.
It's a little different. But I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really fun to submit someone.
Yeah.
Nice. For sure.
So how did you transition into running? Like, obviously you've done martial arts your whole life. Like, when did you start running? Is it something that you did in conjunction with martial arts, or something you put more focus in after you were stopped competing?
I ran track in high school, so I always loved to run, but I didn't really run very long. Like, like a mile was like, felt pretty long, and I wasn't very good at it. I was better at sprinting. And after I was done with school and stuff like that, I did do some running as cross training for Taekwondo competition, but that was like 2 miles at a time maybe. And, and I'm running like super hard. And at that time, I just, my training was like run 2 miles as fast and as hard as you can. And it looks very different from 2 miles today. So, but one day my wife just out of the blue was like, I want you to train me to do a half marathon.
Oh.
And that was like, I want to say that was like 2011 maybe, or something like that.
So had you done a half marathon at that point?
I had not.
Okay. So she just fully like, hey, you are a coach, so you can just coach me to this thing. Oh.
Correct. And, and she's not like, she doesn't love running at what then she like hated running. Really. She just wanted to do it to achieve it and learn how to run. And so, we did it, we trained, we got through it. We did the Miami half and I paced her, and, we had a great time, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I enjoyed the experience. And I was like, I wonder what I could do in a half marathon. And then I did like a few local half marathons. Then I just started, like, it's so cliche, but almost everybody's story. Like, I started picking up books and reading about running. And of course I stumbled upon Dean Karnaz's,
ultra marathon man.
Right. Correct. And I was like, what in the hell is this? Like, what is this? This is so crazy, so cool.
That one basically opens with him ordering a pizza from the side of the road.
Correct. Correct.
I was like, oh, I found a good sport.
Right. Yeah, no. And that was it. Like, I mean, I've always loved national parks and hiking and stuff like that. And so, like, in adventure in general. So I was like, oh my God, you mean to tell me like people get to go to the mountains and like run these crazy distances and see all these amazing places? I'm like, I need to maybe learn how to do that. And I don't know if it's like physically possible, but I'm going to try. And so that's kind of how that all started.
Nice.
So what was your very first ultra marathon race?
It was the stump jump 50K in Chattanooga.
Oh, okay.
In 2014.
So already some elevation. There's an elevation in Chattanooga.
Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a good amount in that race. It's like 7K gain and about 7K loss. And I was like, man, I got my butt kicked out there. And, you know, when I got back to the hotel, it was hilarious. I mean, I could barely move. I could barely walk. We went out to celebrate and have dinner. My son was like really little at the time. My daughter was not born yet. And I just couldn't believe how destroyed I was from that race.
Wow.
I think everybody's first 50K usually has that experience of your body is freaking out.
Yep.
And I can't imagine adding 7,000 feet of gain because you were in Miami. How are you training? Did you do the bridge repeats?
I do some bridge repeats. I do like the, run up the grass on the side of a bridge kind of thing and do a bunch of that. And just, again, I had no clue what I was doing other than just start training more, run more, build volume and kind of just go for it. And, again, I mean, like I said, I've had experience hiking and stuff like that and being at elevation, like not like way higher than Chattanooga because the mountains aren't high there. But, for the competitions, we used to go out west a lot. And so being in the Sierra Nevadas and stuff like that, I was comfortable in the mountains, but never really tried it in terms of like running them. And so, yeah, I just got my butt kicked with the terrain and I loved it.
Yeah.
So you do your first one. Like, when did it click for you? Like when it started, this is going good for me, because you've done some pretty great stuff. So when did it kind of click and like, okay, you're now an ultra runner?
Yeah, I felt like, I guess I didn't, I don't know if I really felt like declaring myself that, I felt like I needed to maybe do more. And I still had those goals in mind of like running 100. And I was like, well, okay, I achieved the 50K and this was like a really cool race. It was so beautiful out there. We were able to do like a little mini vacation. This is great. And I kind of started thinking to myself too, I was like, hey, this is what we were doing on the Taekwondo circuit for years, like turning big competitions into, vacation and all these, memorable moments. So maybe I can do this now. And so that's kind of, I guess, where it clicked. And I was like, okay, I definitely want to do more. And at first it was slow. So I came right back to Chattanooga the next year and I did the Lookout Mountain 50 miler. And that was pretty brutal because I actually stumbled in the first mile going downhill and I fractured my patella.
Oh,
no. Humans are
Mile
so fragile.
one.
Mile one.
How? How
Right,
did
there
you
you
keep
go.
going after
There you
that?
So I've probably told this story a few times, but I'm going to tell it again. So, it was really bad. It like knocked the air out of me. I mean, it was just a brutal shot. Like I was like an idiot. Again, I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm up at the front with the front runners, just like just bolting. The race you start going downhill. And so we're like flying down slick granite. It was like 23 degrees to start. So it's cold. It's kind of slick out there. And I just took a really hard fall and landed awkwardly on the patella. And I never forget the guy next to me goes, well, it's good to get that out of the way early. Okay. Yeah. Right. And by the time the adrenaline wore off and like we made it to kind of like that first like main hub and aid station, I think it was like mile 20 something. And I took a long break and ate and tried to, recover a bit. When I got back up, like I could barely move. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way I can finish this. I'm trying to walk, I'm trying to get going, and it's so bad. and I'm, having all this doubt, and I'm like, I have to figure out a way to get going again. And it's looking worse and worse, and my time is slowing down. I'm struggling. The downhills are excruciating. And I think somewhere like around the 50K mark, I had my phone in my pack, and I called my wife, and I'm like telling her what's going on. I'm like, I'm feeling so ashamed. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to make the cutoff. And she's still traumatized by my ACL tear. So she's like, you need to stop right now. You need to stop, And she's thinking of like the business, and I need to be able to teach and like function properly. And she's like, that's it, you're done. And I'm like, no, I'm going to try to make it. I'm like, put Lucas on the phone. And he's 5. And he gets on the phone and he says, Dad, this is a 5-year-old. He's like verbatim. He goes, Dad, I hear you're not moving so well. And he goes, this is what I want you to do. Every time you feel like you can't take another step, picture me running in front of you. And that like blew me away. I was like, tears streaming down my eyes. And I was like, I'm going to do exactly just that. And, told my wife I was going to finish, and it was rough, but I did with a few minutes to spare.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Heck yeah. So then, obviously, the next big milestone, you went from 50K to 50 mile, was either 100K or 100 mile. What was the next big one for you?
He picked a really interesting first 100 mile. I will say that. I'm looking at your Ulster sign up because this is the thing I do.
Okay, there you go. Well, yeah, so my first 100 mile finish was the Keys 100. But I did DNF at Daytona the year prior, or like 6 months prior to that. I guess for whatever reason it doesn't come up on Ultra sign up.
I mean, that's nice. That's a good thing they did for you. They did you a solid, right?
Right. I'm not like super complaining about it, but it's not. But I have nothing to hide. I think it's important for everybody to be transparent, for everyone to know.
How far did you get in that Daytona attempt?
I got 89 miles.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts so bad.
The crazy thing was, like, I didn't know what was going on, and apparently I had cellulitis before the race started in my leg. And I was like such a fool, again, super naive. I go out really fast. I split the first half marathon at like 1:52. Like, I don't even know when's the last time I've done that, even in training. And I'm just like loving life, and I'm so pumped. I'm like, I'm going to get my first 100. And by the time 50 rolled around, like, I was dying and I was slowing down so badly, but it was still a great 50-mile split just because I went out so hard. But by the 100K mark, like, I could barely move. And, I was really starting to stress and get worried. And, it's dark outside, and I'm now doing like 30-minute miles, and my leg is just like, I'm feeling sick. I'm like, I can't put any pressure on my leg. I was able to hobble all the way to like the aid station number 8, which was mile 82. And I was really feeling doubtful, and I got out of there, and I'm still going, but I'm almost at 1 mile per hour at this point.
Ugh.
And, I'm like one of those really stubborn people where it's like, man, like death before DNF kind of thing, just so stupid. But I'm just like, I'm dragging myself. I feel miserable, but I'm doing the math, and it's getting worse and worse. And like, it went from, can we finish? Like, can we finish under 24? Are we going to be able to finish at all? And, finally, I had to face reality, and, I had to make the call. I called my wife, and I was like, I can't, I can't move. I'm done.
So every time you call her during a race, is she always just like waiting, like, oh my gosh, here it is. Here's the next
What did
thing.
you break this time?
Right. Well, I put her through a lot of crap over the years, so she deserves sainthood. Because yeah. But my leg got worse, and actually funny story. We actually went to Disney like the next 2 days. Yeah.
Did you get like a wheelchair or scooter, or?
You're frozen line handicap.
I was trying to walk and keep up, but I couldn't, and I kind of ruined the trip. and I was like, I cannot stand in line. Like, I just can't stand. I can't put and my leg was ballooning. We got home, and she was like, I guess she didn't realize how bad it was, and she's like, you need to go to the hospital. And the doctors were like, what's wrong with your leg? They were just messing with me. They're like, what's wrong with your leg? What's wrong with your leg? And they were just joking around with me, and I'm like, I kept telling them, I told the nurses, I'm like, I ran 89 miles, and I'm like, why do they keep asking me this, and why are they laughing so much? And then he tells me, well, why isn't your other leg swollen or sore or whatever? And then I had the aha moment, and he's like, oh, you have cellulitis. You had this before the race. The race exacerbated it, and that's why your other leg is fine. And man, I had to spend 3 days in that hospital on IV antibiotics. That's how my first 100 ended.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, here I kind of had like this like excuse, like, oh, it's cellulitis, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I didn't finish. I don't know if I'm good enough. Like, I don't know if I had what it took, and it really burned me, and those 3 days were miserable because, like, that medicine made my stomach a complete mess, and I was nauseous all 3 of those days. And
they probably had to give you a real strong antibiotic then.
Yeah, and it was like
sick. Ugh.
Once I got out of there, it was just all I kept thinking about was like, I have to redeem myself, and of course that's when I signed up for Keys, and worked hard for Keys and was able to get that finish, and that was kind of, I guess, it was all downhill from there.
So I
was going to say sub 24 at Keys.
Nice.
On your first 100 miles.
On your first finish.
First finish, yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
And then you went back and got revenge on Daytona.
Yes. And then I finished that race 6 times.
Wow.
Okay. So here's the question I always ask, because I know you also have done, several races a lot of times. What keeps you going back to things like Keys or Daytona? What is it about those races that makes you just want to go back and do it again?
I think it's a little mix of, a few different things. I think like some of it is nostalgia. Like Daytona was my first 100 ever, first attempt. I was also raising money for a young lady with cystic fibrosis. The year that I failed, and they came out and everything, they even like paced me for a mile, and I felt like I let her down, but Danica and her family came, and they brought me breakfast the morning after, and it was heartwarming. It was still a pretty successful fundraiser, and so like I just had a lot of good feelings about the race. It was just so exciting for me to be at a 100-mile race and like see all the other runners, and just be like, I was just enamored by everybody, and I was like, wow, these people are like amazing, and and the course is beautiful. And I just wanted to go back. And Keys was kind of the same. It was like just the buzz, the environment was electric, and the course was amazing. The Keys is great, and it was super scenic. It's brutal. It's the Keys, but I loved every moment of it. I loved that my wife and my kids got to crew me for half of it. Then like my brother and some other guys took over, but for the dark hours. But yeah, I guess I just really loved like those first 2 experiences, and I was like, I want to go back. I want to, there's also I want to improve part of it as well, but I've always just loved the community, everybody that was involved, the volunteers, staff, all that stuff. And so, yeah, I love Daytona and the Keys. I go back every year.
And it looks like you also go back to Badwater Salton Sea.
Did that one.
Have you put in for
twice.
Why haven't you done Big Badwater?
A lot of people ask me that. There's a lot of factors to it. I've crewed it 3 times, and so I definitely want to run it. I was gonna apply, I should say, not run it. You got to apply first. I was gonna apply a few years back. A few different things happened with some friends, and then I was like, well, maybe maybe I'll hold off on applying this year so I'm available for crewing. And I kind of reworked my schedule, and then just other life things and responsibilities and, just chaotic schedule kind of led me to putting it off. And so it's heavy on the mind. It'll be sooner than later. So you'll see me out there soon enough.
So you got a great resume.
So what
obviously.
other?
Thank you.
What race or races would you consider like these were either your biggest accomplishments or the funnest or the one that you have the most fond memories of? Do you have one that stands out for you?
I mean, man, that's such a tough question because I feel like I've done a few things already. So there's definitely like a lot of stuff there to kind of, I feel like I'm going to forget something, but getting my PR at Daytona was definitely special because, I kept going back to that race, and the year that I had my buddies Twan, Ramon, and Mark Burgett crew me, everything just worked out perfectly. I had a great training block. They were amazing. Mark freaking paced me 70 miles, man.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, for Mark, it was like doing nothing, but
Training run.
Mark he's an absolute legend, but to have him out there, this amazing, Mark won my first 200-mile attempts. He won Daytona the year that I DNF. Mark won Keys 100 the year that I got my first finish. And fast forward all these years later, we really hit it off and became great friends. And, here he is now crewing me and pacing me, and man, and he cracks the whip. Don't let that guy fool you. He's nice. He cracked the whip on me. And man, he squeezed
finish.
Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah. So that I'm trying to get back to that. I've had a few subpar years, and so I'm really now finding. I feel like I'm finding my way back to mentally and physically wanting it to be a competitor again versus just participating and doing stuff.
But it's
I've always
one of the things I have trouble with is one of the reasons I also like to won and done a lot of races is the comparing myself to my past self. I have a huge problem of hey, I look at me at this, when I first started running, look how fast I was. So I have a lot of trouble,
sure.
Especially when you're on the same course, because you're oh man, last year I was at this point by this time and now I'm here. And it's just, it can be very difficult mentally.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I'll tell you, I'll tell you this much, going back to that last question about the most fun or the most memorable, I could tell you probably the most miserable was the year after my PR. And to touch on what you said, Shae, the year after my PR, went back to Daytona, and all this pressure on myself, all these expectations. I'm going to break 18 hours this year. I'm going to, get a new PR. That's what I'm supposed to do. Daytona kind of became my end of the year test. And that's what I need to do. And I just wasn't right. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I wasn't feeling good. And I thought I was feeling good, but I went out to the race. When I went out there, within the first 7 miles, I knew I was falling behind. I just didn't have it. And it got worse really fast. And so here I am knowing I'm going to fail epically. Mm-hmm. And I've already done this race so many times. So it was what is my motivation right now?
Yeah.
And I physically felt ill. I did not feel well. I don't know if I was sick or what it was. I just didn't feel good. And so every mile was miserable. And that's coming from a very happy-go-lucky guy. I generally, even in my worst, I will joke. I'm in a good mood. But man, that race took so much for me to finish, because I was just I was taxed. I didn't have it. And like you said, comparing yourself to the year prior, and here I am, feeling like I'm letting my crew down. I'm letting my family down. I'm supposed to be finished before midnight tonight. And it's
and you get that crew guilt real bad of you guys weren't prepared to spend this long out here. I'm sorry.
For sure. And yeah, and and I've learned, so I went through some of that, and I went through a few races like that recently, and I'm still having to learn to let go a little bit and not put as much pressure on myself, and just enjoy the experience, and not like, sure, I like to I've always been a competitor, so it's in my nature to push myself, but when you just you don't have it, or also your training has not been up to par, you can't, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And at least in that aspect, like I always, I'm a hard quit. So unless there's something medically seriously wrong, I'm gonna.
No, that's a lie.
Because you've had some medically serious stuff wrong, and you still finished.
That was 100% a lie.
I'm gonna try to get to the finish. I mean, that's why I started ultra in. We all have different reasons, but like I always felt like the whole purpose was to finish.
The results are in.
Hey, I am on the Where's the Finish podcast.
That's right. And we find it often.
So I am always trying to find that finish. That is the goal. And sure, you'd love a good performance, but at the end of the day, I always feel like the mission is to finish the race. So that's kind of.
Have you moved into the world of multi-day racing? Have you done any 200 milers or anything like that?
So unfortunately, my two 200 milers, they don't come up on Ultra Sign Up, because they were both, like, I did the Lollipop, which
I remember. Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know what the Lollipop is, it is the Lake to Ocean course, or the Lake to Ocean trail, and then you go around the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail.
Yeah. And I think
and
Andy,
then you got to do
Andy the
and then
first
you got to
one
do
to
Lake to Ocean again and get back to the ocean.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did I think it was 2022 that I did the 200 miles in my studio, and
You did 200 miles in your studio?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yep.
Is it bigger than a cul-de-sac?
no.
When we say it is the size of my living room, it is the size of my
Shay's
living room.
Yeah.
Correct. That is correct. It's so it worked out to be what was it? Forget the exact distance, but it basically was like 48.5 laps to a mile.
Oh my gosh. 48 and a half laps is 1 mile.
Was you dizzy?
Oh my
A lot of people ask that. I never really got dizzy, but the worst part about it really was the fact that it had to be this like rectangle, man, and I had to do these sharp 90-degree turns, and those things were brutally tough. And so, like, a lot of people, I don't think they've fully understood how hard it was to run a mile in here, because sure, there's some benefits, climate control, I got the mats, whatever, it's an even surface. But the thing is, I literally could only go about 2 to 3 seconds before I had to slow down and take a turn. Right? So you're going on the long stretch, I'm going about 3 seconds hitting the brakes, making a turn. On the short stretch, it's like a second and a half hitting the brakes, making a turn. And this is just repeat and repeat for almost 40,000 turns. I mean, it was 9,696 laps.
Did you have to turn around and go the other direction every now and then to put some stress on the other leg?
Every hour. Every hour I switched. And Mike Melton had this incredible setup. Like, he had the display. It showed, like, how many laps I had completed, how many to go, what the projected finish was, time of day, all this stuff. He had all this data on there. And every time I completed a lap, I'd see these numbers. And while it was nice to see, like, constant movement, there were points where it was like horrible, because it just didn't move. You're like,
No, because knowing that information is just more harmful.
No, yeah, I don't want to look at it.
I still fucking have 8,000 laps to go. Like,
So it sounds like it should be some kind of like you should register it with Guinness World Book of Records, for the longest run done indoors.
I don't know.
We tried to bill it like that for the fundraiser because we did it as a fundraiser for Thumbs Up International, which is headed by Karen Lebetsky and Carrie Grusson, and they provide opportunities for differently abled athletes to, to get out and participate in races and, stuff like that. And so it was a great fundraiser. We were able to raise $10,000. So I did some research, and I also reached out to like Davy Crockett, who's a, ultra running historian. And I'm like, man, what's the smallest? Because I said the joke to myself out loud the year after I believe it or not, I did 100 miles in here the year prior, which was like ridiculous that I've done this many indoor runs. But anyway, I was like, as an April Fool's joke, I told my wife and I posted, I was like, well, this year I guess I got to do 200. And then, I started thinking about it, and I was like, during COVID, there were all these crazy indoor hundreds and some like really insane ones, like in living rooms and balconies and stuff like that. And I was like, but what has been the smallest 200-mile run? Like, has anyone ever tried 200 in a really tiny space? And, someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but like I got nothing. So I we build this as the smallest course to ever achieve 200 miles.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost you.
Traditional
there we go.
distances that we monitor.
We lost you just for a
sorry, you
second.
guys lost me?
Yeah, lost you for a second there. That's okay.
Oh, like we ended up submitting to Guinness to try to, since we were billing it as the shortest course ever achieved 200 miles, and it got through a few of their phases or whatever, and then they came back and they were like, well, this is not one of the traditional distances that we monitor.
Duh. That's the reason why it's a world record.
That's why it's great.
They'll do like most walnuts crushed with your ass cheeks in 30 seconds. But, I was like, okay. That's like a real record. I've seen that on AGT. So
I remember like the biggest thing was you'd had the ones that had all the pictures in it, like in the early 2000s with the person with the ridiculously long fingernails.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
So yeah, I mean, I want to say that we're going to call it a world record. I don't care whether Guinness does or not.
Yeah.
We're going to say it is, and we're the only ones that count anyhow. So you got it, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. And that was definitely multi-day. That ended up taking me 86 hours and some change. So it went, and at the time, I was like, I had all these ridiculous ideas like, oh, I'm going to do it like in 60 hours. And then that kind of went out the window, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I can get it under 3 days. And it just got brutally hard after the 100-mile mark. I mean,
I bet.
getting moving. Yeah, and it was like, I was like an animal in a cage, and I was, 24/7 live stream. I'm like trapped in my own prison. I gotta knock out all these laps.
You're like a gerbil in a cage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
during COVID, they made such a big deal about the guy that ran 100 miles in his cul-de-sac. I didn't hear about Louis Cocco doing 200 miles inside his gym, So, man, that's just really impressive. Now, let me ask you now, 200 miles inside your gym, how does that turn into you taking on being a race director?
Well, I had actually started well before that. The original Miami 100 started in 2018, and so I had a few years already of race directing going into that, and I guess I started fairly quick with the race directing. But my excuse for that is that I had been a tournament director for many years, for over a decade. So I'd been doing Taekwondo events for a long time. So I was fairly comfortable with putting on events, and it was like a natural transition. And I don't know what came over me, but like as I was really getting into the 100-milers and just super excited about it, I'm doing all this research, and I'm like, man, there's never been a Miami 100? Like, really? Mm-hmm. I was like, I can't believe there's no Miami 100. And I kept thinking about it and just like doing more and more research on other races. And I learned about the TGNY 100 in New York. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I have to do this race. And like, that would be perfect, but in Miami. And, I was inspired by a few different races and different ideas and concepts. And one day I just had this overwhelming sense of urgency. Like, man, if I don't announce this race like tomorrow, I don't know why I felt like someone was about to put up a Miami something and it wasn't going to do the city justice. Like, and I was like, and it's nothing against a loop course or anything like that, but like there's different races for different scenarios. And I just felt like, a lot of people don't know Miami well and only know of like South Beach and, this, that, and the other. And I was like, there's so much to showcase and I want to show, people my beautiful home. And I was like, we have so many different areas and, neat neighborhoods and different historical areas that, let's do it justice. And this was how that came about. And I've always been obsessed with maps. So that was like way before running, and it all just kind of came together. And that's how we got the Miami race series.
So you started race directing with the Miami 100 then? And
the 100 was the original, yes.
So what other races do you have what other races have you race directed, or which other races are you race directing now?
So we expanded the Miami 100 weekend to include a 50K, which we call Ride the Wave. And the way that happened was when COVID came around in 2020, races were being canceled left and right. And, I just felt terrible. And the Miami 100, we had a curfew here, so we couldn't put on the 100 either. But I was like, I'm not going to go the easy way out and just cancel the race. I feel bad for all the runners. Like, people were getting so frustrated, and there were like all these horror stories about races, and some runners were losing their race spot and not even getting a deferral. Like, I understand the no refunds, but no deferral either is just kind of brutal. And so I was like, okay. My wife and I decided we're going to put on a 50-mile race because within the cutoff we can be under curfew. And we told all our runners, you're all automatically deferred to next year, and you can run this race included as well, like this year. And then, so they got like a 2-for-1 special for COVID.
Nice.
And then we opened it up for other runners as well that just wanted to sign up for the 50, like last minute. And we called it Ride the Wave because it was kind of like a play on words. We're just riding this COVID wave. We don't know what's going to happen. And, it's kind of like little cool, beach vibes type thing. And we did that year. And then we decided to just take the name and the logo and keep that and turn that into a 50K. So we now have the 50K the same weekend as the Miami 100.
Yep, our friend Tyler went down and did that.
Yeah, Tyler did the 50K this last year.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah. And we added a 125 challenge to celebrate Miami's 125th birthday. And this is the last year we're offering it because Miami turns 130 next year. So we'll be doing the 130 challenge.
There you go.
Yeah. And then 50-50 was actually born during COVID as well. So like that, you guys mentioned Salt and Sea earlier, and I loved the format. And I'm like, man, why aren't there any other partner races? Like, there's relays, but there's no partner races. And I was like, I love the concept. And so I decided to just tweak it a little bit where it's just two, it's just a pair instead of having the choice of 2 or 3. And then I wanted to make it where instead of crew mandatory, this is no crew allowed.
Yeah.
So it's just you and your partner. You have to survive.
Well, I mean, you can do that in Miami, whereas that is impossible.
Yeah, it's possible. It's hard to see.
Correct.
Literally impossible.
Of course.
And so I love that. I
you
love
will die in the
self-supported.
desert.
Yep.
Are those the only races you put on, or do you have more than that under the Ninja umbrella?
So those are the ones under the Ninja umbrella. And then I got together with my buddy Tuan Nguyen, and 3 years ago we created the Space Pirate 100. And so that is February, third weekend of February, and that's another point to point. It runs very similar to Daytona 100 and Keys 100, north to south, 100 miles, mostly on A1A. Gorgeous course, fast course. Check it out, everybody.
So run all three of the races. You've seen most of the Eastern
You've seen
Seaboard.
all of the East Coast. Yeah,
Correct.
that's wild.
Correct.
Cool.
And it's spaced out great because you got Space Pirate kicks the year off in February, and then you have Keys in May. Miami's all over the place, but it's technically a 100-mile road race, on the Eastern Seaboard. So you got Miami in September, and then Daytona in December.
Okay, so when are you doing the Florida Road Slam, which would also have to include the Tampa?
There's been talks about it, and
The Florida Man Slam.
I'm down for it. I mean, I'd love to, get together with the other RDs or figure something out, or even if it's not like where it's officially endorsed per se, maybe it's just like, the challenge itself has been created and there's some kind of special award or prize.
Yeah, what I kind of, because I've given thought to this too.
Of course you have. There's no doubt that you thought about this. She probably has a spreadsheet for it.
Yeah, there's 2 spreadsheets.
Well, it's just, so there's the Aravaipa Whiskey Man series that used to exist. It doesn't now, but it would be, you run the Whiskey Basin 88K, you do the Whiskey Row 50-mile bike ride, and then you do the Whiskey Row Marathon. And then you would be a quote-unquote whiskey man. So I was like,
Nice.
okay, I want to do the Florida Man / Florida Ma'am Slam.
It would definitely take a
Florida
crazy
man.
Florida man to do what you're talking about. For
or
sure.
Florida Ma'am.
Shae
Or
would do
Florida
it.
ma'am. Yeah.
And of course, it would be like a somebody surfing on an alligator
Yeah.
trophy.
That would be cool.
I have put thought into.
Again, she's probably got a
I like it.
spreadsheet
So
for it.
it would be, what would the races be? Daytona 100.
Yeah, so you've got starting at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
You've got to do, it would be Space Pirate first,
Space Pirate.
then Keys,
Then Keys.
then Miami,
Miami.
then
Tampa.
Tampa.
And then
then
Daytona.
Daytona.
Oof.
It's a lot of
That's
miles.
500 miles in 1 year.
Yeah. That'd be
Ish.
That
Yeah,
exciting.
would
500
run
mile buckle.
500 miles.
There you go.
So this past weekend, you actually had the 50-50 race, and these two yahoos went out and ran it together as a team. I'm just curious how it went out there. I mean, how many runners did you have participate in it this year?
We had 32 start this year. So 16 teams of 2.
And then the race is kind of like a scavenger hunt or something, or how's this thing go?
It's awesome. So the way it works is you don't know the course until the day of, and so that's similar to the 50Ks of convenience I've done up in
Illinois.
Illinois.
I was about to say Iowa.
Well, it is in Iowa.
Ah,
It's
son
in
of a
both.
bitch, it's in Iowa.
It's in the Quad Cities. So it could be in Illinois. It could be in Iowa. It's just in the Quad Cities. And you literally show up that morning, and that's when you get the directions. And it's kind of like HOTS when you get sent the directions the night before. So I love that kind of stuff. So I was very excited you don't know the next set of directions until you get them.
Well, what I enjoyed about it is I didn't have to chew that much information all at one time. Because I start to stress when I'm trying to look at a race the entire.
You stressed before the race.
Well,
Well,
I didn't.
okay,
I didn't get
yeah.
to stress
So-
this fucking time.
So,
Sounds
I
like
don't
my
think we haven't
style.
talked about it, but essentially what happened was, I was supposed to run 100K, got sick. And so that was the weekend before. And so come Monday, I was like to my coach, I'm just like, I need to do something. If I need to run 2 50-milers, if I need to run a 50-miler on Saturday, a 50-miler on Sunday to be ready for Badwater, I'll do that. And he's like, well, you don't have to do that. But this Miami 50-50 you were talking about,
Yeah, you guys have literally been talking about
We have.
this for over a year.
Over a year.
I've been talking
Yeah.
about it for probably at least 5 years now.
Yeah.
No, maybe not 5 years.
Has the race been going that long?
Maybe 4.
This was the 6th year.
Yeah. I've been talking about it for a long time
Yeah.
just because it's like, I want to do this race. I want to do this race.
Yeah. So it got sprung on me on Monday.
Well, we're glad you guys finally came out and did it.
Yeah, so he found out Monday that he was going to be doing a 50-mile race.
Yeah, so get this, right? So she's like, we're sitting here for pod.
Well, I actually recorded it.
Oh,
so,
you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's at the end of Rob's episode.
That's
This-
very
this,
funny. Because I had no idea that she's like, did you check your phone?
email? Yeah.
And then you
Check your run schedule?
And I was like, oh, okay.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, I that's when I found out.
Your coach slid something in
He did.
to your
So
DMs
you had
there.
no choice to. You had no ability to stress beforehand.
I had no time to stress.
Well, this was perfect. You didn't know that you were going to do the race.
Yeah.
Then
you were
got in
well
the race.
trained for it.
You didn't know what you were going to do at the race.
That's right.
So that's perfect. You got to do more of those. Kevin.
Apparently, I just got to show up and just go run. We're gonna run 100 miles today. Good.
That's how I like to plan. Is just show up.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't like planning. It's too
Yeah.
much. I stress out if I have to plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Shae, if you want to walk through the day's events.
Oh, okay. So we had a pre-race meeting
Yeah.
around 6:30 ish, I
Nope.
believe. No. Yes, it
Oh,
was.
the night before.
Yep.
Yeah, the night before. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And it was going to have a very early start of 5. So your intention of starting at 5 is so people are back before it gets dark, or?
This is a good question. I think originally, yes, it was so that way we could kind of get people back before it's dark. That way they're not running out there at nighttime. I hate early starts, which ironically, the 100 and the 50-50 start at 5 a.m. I hate early morning starts, but both of my races start at that time.
Well, it's
kind of funny.
Miami. You want to take advantage of the cooler morning hours too.
No, they're not cool. It's
Cool-
just
cool.
it's just
No,
wet.
there was
It's just
no
wet.
cool.
It was not cooler.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine. It was
No,
actually pretty cool.
People that do that, I guess they get themselves in trouble because they're like, yeah, it's gonna be dark for an hour and a half, and then they start booking it, and before you know it, they're just they're in the hole already. You wanna. It's pretty humid already, and
Yeah.
it's not pleasant out. It's warm, so you definitely gotta be careful. But it's more of just a logistics thing. I'd be tempted to start at a different time, but I think this is worked out, so we're just gonna kind of keep it rolling for now.
Yeah, we stayed at a hotel pretty close, so it was like a
Yeah.
15-minute drive, and then you were also just like, "Hey, we gotta go," and I'm just sitting there taping my feet,
I
going
know.
la di da di da.
Race starts in 20 minutes. We should probably
I guess I should put
go.
my pants on.
We got to see some of our friends there, though.
We did,
Yeah.
yeah. So we saw Katie and we
Yeah.
saw Kay and who else did we see?
Andy?
We saw Andy was there. We got to meet some very interesting folk doing the race, the kids.
The kids, the young kids. Horrible with names, but they had no
They
idea.
made it.
They had no idea what lube was, Joe.
Ah, well,
No
they're
idea.
kids. They're not supposed to about that
No
until you're
idea.
grown up.
No idea what lube was.
Yep. 20 years old, both of them, Nico and Matthew.
That's it.
Yeah,
And
I
they-
looked
they made it.
looked one of them up on Instagram just to see, and he was running on a treadmill to train for his double marathon he was going to do in a couple days.
That's
so I was like, oh, that's fun.
Okay.
Called it a double marathon.
Yeah.
Nice.
Needs to learn the lingo too.
That's
huh?
it. Yeah, double marathon.
That's all right. It's always exciting to watch the young ones get out there and do it because a lot of them just watch too much David Goggins, and
Yeah.
they just think 100 miles is just, I'm young, I'm tough, I can do it. I've never ran more than 10K, and you see it all the time. And sometimes they're actually successful with a lot of pain.
Yep.
Well,
But sometimes they
that
just
was them.
Yeah. They were hurting
was
pretty
them.
bad. They were bleeding
Yeah,
for some chafage. Pretty good.
We get a lot of those for especially the Miami 100 every year, and I'm like, oh gosh, and because Miami is it's like an influencer capital of the world kind of thing.
Ego
so you got
City.
a lot of these. Yeah, you got a lot of these young,
run with 5
kids.
cameras strapped to them and a whole team follow them with a drone.
Oh my God! Last Miami 100 last year was hilarious. We had 5 documentaries happening. It was too much. It was so funny though, and
Have any of them been released?
yeah, there's some stuff out there. I'm so swamped all the time with so many things going on. I am embarrassed to say that I I've heard little things, and I've had friends like tell me about stuff, and I've seen some little clips, but I have not been able to watch one like front to back, and I really should. But I haven't seen anything. I would love to see a Miami 100 documentary, but like done properly, also to kind of like showcase the race,
Not the runner.
Well, not that it's not showcasing the runner, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way some of the other ones were like.
Well, maybe it's another way that you can get involved in social media, because I mean, you've got a couple little things that you do. I'm going to ask you this before we get done. Anyhow, what's in your pockets?
my pockets right now. My pockets are empty because I am wearing my Taekwondo pants, so there's no pockets at all. But, yeah, the Fun Network is just on. It's on a temporary hold. We gotta get it. We got to get it going.
The few videos that I've seen, especially when you went out there to Long Haul, 2 years ago,
was very funny.
Oh
we
my
had a
gosh.
great time.
So
It was
good.
so fun to watch. I mean, that was real. The Fun Network was really fun.
It was. We enjoyed
Oh my
it.
gosh!
I
Watched-
appreciate it.
Yes, every single one.
Every one of them. I was like, oh, what's the next one? This is the next one. Let's watch it.
There, I just need to recalibrate with Tuan. We both, have had just a lot of life stuff happen, and we're super busy, and it's like super hard to just multiply ourselves.
I understand that.
and get all the editing done, and I'll pull all that stuff out. So we've talked about a few things, and hopefully we'll find like a more permanent solution so that it can like stay consistent.
Yeah,
keep
and
going.
for anybody, the link is going to be in the show notes, so you can go check that
Go
out.
watch the ones
it's
that
pretty
he's
fun.
done. It's hilarious.
It's pretty fun.
Appreciate it. It got really funny for a while because after being in the ultra game for a bit, everyone knows me as the ninja, oh, there's the ninja. But then after a while, it's like, oh, that's the Miami guy, because I do the Miami races. But then, a lot of people that are kind of getting into the sport and didn't really know me that well, that's the pockets guy. I was starting to have my own personal identity crisis. I'm like, man, I used to be the ninja. Then I was a Miami guy, and now I'm just a pockets guy.
Oh, goodness.
So what did you see as highlights from the 50-50 this year? Did you, as a race director, what was your highlights from the race?
Honestly, the number one highlight for me was how good of a time everybody had, even the runners that unfortunately the teams that had a DNF. Like, the feedback that I got from everybody was outstanding. And as hard of a race as it is, it's brutally hot out there, it's nasty, there's tough sections, you're dealing with traffic and all that stuff. Everybody had a great time, and everybody, had really nice things to say, and that just makes us super happy. There's a lot of other little great stories. Definitely seeing, Roxy and Ileana. I think they're 62 and 63, and they've been in the Miami game for a long time, and this was their first 50. And to see them,
awesome.
Last year they attempted the 50K in September together, and they DNF'd it. And so, they just worked really hard for this race. And they told me, they did a tremendous amount of heat training. They had a good strategy. They were using their ice bandanas from the start of the race, and yeah, they got it done with 30 minutes to go. And they got it done under. So that was really neat. I love seeing everybody finish, and I always, as a race director, I want everybody to have an amazing day. And as a director, being in the sport, it's not going to happen. Things are going to happen. People are going to have a rough time, and there's going to always be a bunch of DNFs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I love seeing people celebrate, their accomplishment. I mean, I've always been a coach first, so that's what I do for a living. So I guess being a race director, it's kind of similar. You get to see other people achieve something, and so that's always satisfying for me. So it hurts whenever and someone's like, oh, we got to drop or whatever. I'm like, oh, I feel bad. But yeah, it was great. It was a great day overall. I was, and the day wrapped up right at 9 p.m.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
phenomenal.
it sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was, every team either came in or they had already tapped, and so there was no, like, the race didn't linger on. There was nothing,
no unofficials,
no real issues to worry about. So it was a nice clean finish, and yeah, it was a great day
for you guys. Shae,
so
what was y'all kind of some highlights for y'all?
Before we get into it, I'm looking at my pictures because I do like to take a lot of pictures. You have a very interesting restaurant in the same plaza as your studio, as your dojo. The pho place.
Is that the Fuckaholic?
Yes.
Yes, it's very funny.
We used to have one here in Ocala called Fuck Him Long.
Yes,
We did, yes.
That was
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
It's great.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that was like the first thing I saw when we came for packet pickup.
Yeah, and we just laughed.
I
and
love a
giggled in
good
the
bowl of
parking lot.
pho. That's awesome.
Yeah, super. That's actually a new development, because for over 40 years that was just Walter's Coffee Shop. It was like a family-owned diner, American style diner, and they finally sold it, and it is now the pho shop. And they obviously were crafty with their wording there.
Yes, it's very funny. We had a good giggle on that one. But yeah, packet pickup was great.
Yeah.
We got to
Got
see
some cool
everybody and
swag.
hang out. I got a cool hat and a cool
Really
shirt.
awesome keychain.
Keychain, the
that your
keychain son made,
3D printed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Got some coffee, some Cafe
We-
Bustelo.
I was excited for you guys to come down and experience it, and of course, I'm grateful for you guys, having me on the Where's the Finish podcast and sharing about it. And yeah, no, thank you guys. I'm glad it was a good race for you guys as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I was watching pictures show up on my social media feed
Yes.
all day, and
Yeah.
it looks like you guys spend a lot of time out there running with some of our running friends too.
Yeah. We did.
And I don't know if you have time to stick around. We were going to do a full race recap. I don't know if you've got to head out because it's getting kind of late, but are you good for some more time?
Yeah, I'm good for a bit more.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of go through the fun stuff that we saw. One of the first kind of highlights were, well, kind of weird highlights, all the peacocks. There's
so many peacocks. So
Nice.
many peacocks everywhere.
Yeah. And just hearing them
Yep.
constantly
That's-
all through the area.
Yeah, and where we start, like, we're located in Palmetto Bay, like the studio, and that's like Peacock Central right there. They're all over the place, but really they have a stronghold in Palmetto Bay.
But why?
So you definitely get a lot of them right at the start of the race.
Are they just free range? Just free range chickens or what?
They're
What's-
free range. It's been a controversial topic because for some people there's so many people that love them, but other people find that they're a nuisance, like to their home and, stuff like that. And so for a while people were like just shooting them dead and stuff
my.
like that.
They are
That
delicious.
caused-
They're just they're fancy chickens.
They are delicious. I had one fly in front of me. We got wild ones around here too. I had one fly in front of me about 2 months ago, right by Indian Lake State Park in front of my house.
Did you eat it?
No, but I nearly hit the thing because it flew right in front of.
Did you try to eat it?
I would have. Okay. I mean, they're delicious. My aunt used to have a bunch of them that would come into her yard, and they'd take one out every now and then and eat it.
Yeah. But we saw one. I tried to get a picture of one of the males, and then I did see a female
bunch of babies.
with them 4 little babies. And
That's
they
why
were
there's so many
cute.
of them, because they
Yeah.
got babies.
They were so cute.
One scared the living shit out of us though, because we were just running along and all of a sudden like, "Wah!" and I'm like, "Whoa, what the
It
hell
was just
that?"
like right
Yeah,
on the
they are.
other side of a fence where
Yeah.
you were.
It was crazy. Scared the shit out
They
of
are
me.
loud. They have that call. They have that call early in the morning when it's dark. I've had a few years where I'm out like on the course, and runners be like, "Lewis, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?" I'm like, "Those are peacocks. What-
Yeah.
It's all good."
Yeah, it definitely startled me. That's for sure. I might have screamed pretty loud. I'm not gonna lie.
It was
Yeah,
very
we got
funny.
peacocks, iguanas, and roosters everywhere.
Yeah, saw
And
like
saw-
quite a few iguanas
and roosters everywhere.
My favorite one that
I'd
I've
eat one of
seen
those, too.
is a rainbow agama. Mm-hmm. I love those.
Yeah,
So-
they're everywhere now.
they're so pretty.
They're invasive.
They're
too.
invasive.
Yeah. They are. We have a lot of invasive, species and reptiles out here, and like I could literally do a reptile tour. And the crazy thing is, a lot of them they're super like territorial, and I know their neighborhoods. Like I could run in certain areas, and I could tell you guaranteed, like we'll see these types of lizards over here. If we run over here, we'll see these. Like it's pretty amazing. But
You should
we
do
have
an
a lot
event where you have like a photo library of every lizard that they have to take a picture of before they can come back and be finished.
Oh man,
we could totally do it. Let me tell you.
that'd be wild.
That'd be fun.
What else you got in that little book there, Shae?
So looking through, we got to.
So that was pretty early in the day
when we got into Wynwood.
before we got to Wynwood. We got to the first aid stop.
Oh yeah, first aid stop. I don't have the cards. We gave the cards back.
The
and I
cards
was
back,
like,
but it was
oh,
about
yeah.
10 miles or so. I think
first
to the
aid,
first
yeah.
aid,
And so the aid was amazing.
Yeah.
Cold water.
good water.
So you pull into every aid stop and they give you new directions to the next
to
one.
the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
About how far apart were your aid stations?
We got them at 10,
They're like-
22, and 35.
Yeah, I think that's right. Something like that. About every
Yep,
10 to
it
12
was-
miles.
It was, yeah, about that. Like it was. I think this year it was 10.7. Then it was 22.6, 35.4, and the finish was like 51.4.
If
If you didn't get lost like
you
Shae
didn't
and
get
I.
lost like me, we
Oh, I'm
did.
sure
Right.
many
Yeah.
people probably get lost on
Yeah,
yeah.
we got some
a
extra credit.
scavenger
We
hunt
did.
style run.
Yeah.
Like upon leaving the second stop, we immediately missed a turn.
Yeah.
And just are going up, and it's like we've got to turn on this road. It's like
Oh no, we went the wrong way.
It was the southwest instead of a southeast, just because we were just
We were just chit-chatting.
missed the turn.
But then we went. So after the first aid stop, we went through some more like residential neighborhoods, and we saw a sign that said "Caution: Coconuts Falling."
Oh yes, we did.
Oh boy,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah,
It was
Did
like
y'all,
on a.
did y'all pick up any fresh coconuts?
there were
there were several.
so many fresh coconuts.
Like they like usually like gather them up in big piles on the side of the road.
That's
for
what
the,
this- yeah,
for the
they had
trash
some.
company to come get them.
Yeah,
'cause
there
they're
were
just
so
all
many.
over.
Yeah,
I think mango is coming in right now too, isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, they probably could get mango
Yes,
almost
there's a
all
lot
year.
of mangoes everywhere.
Yeah.
Mango, lychee, coconut, avocados, all of it.
You could live comfortably off the stuff falling people's fruit trees.
I love it. That sounds good.
I don't know if
Yep.
anybody would be happy with you just coming in and just taking all
Their fruit off their.
Well,
fruit
they
tree.
just pile it up by the side of the road. It just rots. There's so much
There's
of
so
it.
much of
There's
it.
so much of it that people are probably happy to have you come pick it up because if not, they've got to rake it up and move it.
That's
That
probably
stuff
true.
rots, and then once it
Yep.
rots in your yard, it gets nasty and smelly, and it's not pleasant.
And
You gotta
then-
run
and
over,
then you could
ride
just
over it with
go-
your lawnmower.
Then
know?
you just go 2 doors down and get a peacock. And
Yeah.
you're good to go.
well, then you can have like a mango stuffed peacock with some pico de
Mango,
gallo and
chutney peacock.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Peacock de gallo. That didn't work out very well.
Oh man.
So where'd we go after that, Shae?
Well, we caught up to Katie and Kay.
We did,
a few
yeah,
times.
a couple
so
times.
we saw them throughout. We got to wander through Wynwood with them.
Didn't we go through downtown first?
We did.
Yeah,
yes.
we went through downtown.
Did y'all stop at any fancy places and have food or snacks?
Yeah,
or
we'll get to
anything?
that.
Yeah, not so much.
Super fancy. The fanciest of fancy place you could ever go to on a run we went to.
Dairy Queen.
Nope.
No, we went to McDonald's when we got to South Beach. So we were crossing after Wynwood. We crossed the Venetian Causeway.
Yep.
Is it? And at that point, you were not having a good time.
No, I was not having fun. Well, my problem was I was hungry. And I knew that I was hungry, and I knew that I needed to eat food, and I wanted to eat food, but I didn't want to eat any of the food that Shae and I had with us.
Somewhere about 30 miles or so in, we got a picture of you looking pretty miserable.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
I got McDonald's.
Yeah. Like he was not
There you
having
go.
he was not having
Yeah.
a good time. He wouldn't eat anything.
Nope.
So
I was just mad. I
And
was
then
like,
then we're crossing the Venetian Causeway, and there's the Miami skyline behind us, and I have a picture of him looking pretty upset. And then when I was like, "Hey, I'm going to take a picture," he looks totally happy, throwing a peace sign.
Fake it till you make it.
the drawbridge was up.
There you go.
When we were on the Venetian too.
Yep.
The drawbridge was up. So one of the other runners we were chatting with, they had 2 drawbridge stops on their run, which kind of stinks because they were there for a while.
But how long is the drawbridge up? Like a half an hour?
I don't think it was up that long, but it's probably 5-10 minutes at least.
You can, every once in a while you get a bad one, but our winners this year, they got stuck behind one as well.
Wow.
Kind of messed them a bit, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it's time to recover.
I think that's fun. Yeah, just like, oh, cool, drawbridge.
Yeah.
Go to someone's house and get some
stressed.
avocado and eat while you're sitting there waiting.
So some of the cool stuff
There you
before
go.
we got into South Beach, I saw one of my favorite stores, and I shouted in my mind and out to Shae. I was like, "We have to tell Susan about this store as we run by it." It was a mattress store.
Because, as people will remember in Tampa, Susan tried to make small talk and said, "Well, if you owned a store, what would you have? A mattress store."
So he can get some sleep.
I was so tired, but
We took some fun picture in front of Art.
Yeah.
Was there one was that the picture I saw of you like standing with some great big giant arms sticking out your side or something?
Oh, that was the gelato place in Wynwood.
Oh, okay. It looked like you had some. Like,
Yeah, giant strong arms.
Yeah.
There's so many murals in Wynwood.
I need to go back. I want to
mean,
do a full
There's
Like a
just
mural
so
run.
many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
They've got like mural golf cart tours and stuff like that, because that's probably one of the better ways to see them, I guess, unless you do want to walk every single street. But yeah, going back to Miami.
It's cool
next
how
month
graffiti,
anyway, so.
graffiti art turned into murals, because it was just people tagging stuff, and then
Yeah,
people,
it's expanding a lot. Like that whole area is expanding fast, so it's pretty exciting. Like from my side of things, because every year I have more options in terms of like what areas we can have the runners go through, because they're just basically so much real estate's getting bought up there, and like different little trendy spots and things are being put up, and if you want to kind of stand out and compete in that area.
So Miami Vice
Great art.
is kind of turning into gentrified Miami now. So all the
It
drug
really-
lords and
well,
cartels
there's definitely
are
a
leaving.
lot of gentrification.
But no.
There's a lot of that going on,
There's
for
still
sure.
some drugs. Kevin and I saw a drug deal.
Yeah, we saw a drug deal. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We saw somebody got murdered too.
Somebody did get murdered. We
Yeah.
ran.
We ran right by it.
Yep, we did run past.
You run
the
past the
murder.
dead folk, huh?
Yep. We said hi. They didn't say hi back.
No, we
Apparently,
didn't.
it happened at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, like 3 a.m.
before the race.
Before the race, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
So there was no. They
Just-
were just
Just a lingering
keeping the
crime
area.
scene.
Yeah.
Crime scene. Yeah.
Scene safe. Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if he had mangoes.
He probably did, and a peacock.
Yeah. Good Lord.
But yeah, we ran to South Beach and took pictures with all of the fun art they had down there. They had this
on the causeway.
they had this big bicycle that had all these like bronze animals on it. It was very cool.
So South Beach, I've never spent any time really in Miami. So are they still have all like the big fancy billionaire nightclubs where all the famous people go and hang out and stuff? Is that still at South Beach? That used to be a thing, like Will Smith and Sly Stallone. You remember the songs? I mean, come on.
Welcome to Miami.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, Madonna had a nightclub down in South Beach for a long time, like in like the 80s and 90s.
there's a lot of clubs down there, but recently Miami Beach has cracked down with like curfew and stuff like that, because they were just having a lot of issues with clubs getting overrun with different groups and spring breakers and party goers, and they're just turning thing. It went from like partying to like absolute chaos on the streets and stuff like that. There's just one too many incidents, and finally the city was like, we need to do something about it. So they've gotten really strict with curfew, and that's definitely helped a lot. But yeah, the beach is all about the nightlife. So
Yeah, it
That's,
says in the Will Smith song, all night on the beach till the break of dawn.
Yeah, I mean, well, so cities in Florida
Not
go through these
anymore.
little
There's a
things.
curfew now.
So there was the Daytona era, the MTV days, and Daytona
Yeah.
was like that. Kids were diving off of balconies and dying. They were trying to climb from one balcony to the next, and they had to close the balconies. People couldn't get on. People were always dying. And then there was the Fort Lauderdale era, Miami. Then there was Panama City, Pensacola. So like all these beaches.
And now it's Ocala.
I don't know if anyone come here for spring break. I think they moved. I think they all moved to Mexico. I think they're all going down to because you can go
Cancun
for cheap.
Yeah, that could be.
Yep. So
There's a lake city, like maybe is it Lake Tahoe or something like that. There's a big spring break community thing
In
around
Lake
that
Tahoe?
too. I think it's Lake Tahoe.
I don't think so. That doesn't sound
I've
right.
never spring break before, so I could
Yeah.
not
I
tell
think it's
you.
Lake Mead.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
it
that
is
could be.
Mead. Yeah,
Lake Mead out. Yeah.
out
see
west
that.
somewhere. One of them big western.
So what happened after South Beach, Shay?
So after, we stopped for McDonald's
We
and
did.
we sat there for quite a while.
Like
We're just chilling.
30 minutes at
Well,
least.
you were very hungry, and so we got full meals. Like we got full octane Coke. Like
Yeah.
The real stuff.
the real stuff with sugar.
How's your nose
not
feel after
zero.
snorting it?
We
So
sat there for a long time though. We were
Is that how
there
you got
for
so fast at the
very,
end?
very
All
long.
that Coke y'all did.
Yep. So then, going back through, we got to go through the protest. So that
did,
was
yeah. No King's Day.
I cried a little bit, so that was really fun for us. And then I think around that time we went through Little Havana. I
Yeah,
believe. Is it Little Havana?
it was after the third aid station.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we went to the third aid station, and we saw Katie again.
Mm-hmm.
We went over the bridge, MacArthur Bridge, and that bridge is forever long. Like it's like the longest bridge in the entire state of Florida. It feels like, but it's probably really not. But it feels that way. Is that by design? Just having this long bridge on the course?
No, it's just again, it's some of it's logistics, some of it's mixing it up, but yeah, it's a great bridge. There's only so many bridges that we could use, especially for the 50-50 and still, not turn it into the 60-60.
Yeah, right. I could see that for sure.
So, in the Miami 100, about what mile do you hit that bridge?
It really depends, because the Miami 100, since I have 100 miles to work with, I can really change the dynamics of the course a lot.
Oh, so you do change it every
So,
year.
every
as well.
year.
Okay.
It's the same way. You get a card, just like the 50.
Yeah.
I should have known
Yeah,
that because I had
it's-
signed up for it at one point, but then I had to cancel because I had a different race already scheduled.
Yeah.
But
It's super challenging and stressful to change it every year, but it's something that I committed to from the beginning, and there's no turning back. I love doing it, and I kind of look at it as my own sort of art through I'm expressing myself through the course.
Yeah.
So I try to change it, especially the 100. The 100 I can do a lot more with it, because with the extra miles I can definitely make bigger changes. With the 50, most of the 50-50, most of the race is structurally very similar, with different tweaks here and there, and then the same with the 50K. The 50K is very hard for me to change up.
Hey,
I can see that.
Can you make some Strava art with your course?
Yeah. Some nice big blocks.
I could, but again, it's gotta all work, and we got to get people back.
They're like, I just saw this intersection 5 minutes ago.
It's fine. So after that, we went through Little Havana, and that was really cool. That area was probably Wynwood was probably good too. So it's like those two are tied for me for like what I enjoyed the most on the course. Just the amount of energy in Little Havana was just unreal. There was people everywhere.
Yeah,
I loved
Little
it.
Havana is great, and it has definitely really kind of also blossomed, over the last several years, and that tends to be Wynwood and Little Havana tend to always be the runners' favorites.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it's also my favorite area as well. Like, the beach is cool too, but I prefer going out, getting out through downtown and going to Wynwood or going to Little Havana. I love those spots.
And they have painted chickens there, or
They
like
do.
painted roosters
Yeah, painted
there.
roosters.
So
Yes.
I was very
Who's
excited.
catching roosters and painting them?
Yeah. The big paint statues, like the statue of
Big
Rooster.
giant roosters.
I just see, roosters running around with like little peak hairdos.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So at one point, Kevin gets his second wind
I do. Yeah.
after being miserable for a lot of miles.
I was miserable probably for a good 10 miles, I would say.
But he got his-
maybe even a little more.
Was it after your McDonald's?
Like maybe
before
15
McDonald's
miles?
and after McDonald's.
Yeah. I was pretty rough for like probably 15 miles.
Like I remember you asked Katie and Kay, you're like, so are you guys planning on walking it in?
Are we just walking this in? Is that what we're doing? Are we just gonna?
We're like mile 35. Are we walking this
Are we gonna
in?
walk this in now? Because I don't really feel like running anymore. So, I just kind of was not really having a good time mentally. I was just kind of like, and here's the thing: like nothing was wrong. Like I wasn't in pain. My body did not hurt. Like everything was functional. Everything was operational as it should. It's just I was just tired. Like, okay, I'm tired and I just wanted to be done and I didn't want to do it anymore. And that's, and kind of overcoming that for me was kind of a rarity, because usually when I get into that mindset, like I just stay into that mindset all the way to the end.
And it's walking all the way, but that's not
But
what
that's
happened.
not what happened.
So what did happen?
Yeah, so I would say probably close to mile I'm gonna
So
say
ours-
38.
Yeah,
on
I was gonna
our
say,
end.
but our race ended up being about 53 miles.
53-ish
yeah.
miles. Yeah, a little over 53.
So yeah, right near maybe 48, 49, 50-ish. Or
30,
30
38.
30,
Yes.
Yeah.
So around 40. You're closing in on 40.
Yeah, which would have been course would have been closer to the 30, like closer to the 40 mile mark probably. And then we just like, okay, well, let's just do some running. So we started doing 4-1s.
Nice.
Yeah, we did 4-1s.
Put on music.
Put on music fairly well.
Was it Unz music?
Yeah, of
course
course
it was
Of
Unz
course,
music.
it
Okay,
is,
yeah.
Joe.
Unz.
Now, one thing that I will say that I wish that we probably wouldn't have done, but we did it kind of anyway.
Get lost and add 3 miles?
Well, that too, but there's like a bike path that goes in between US 1 and that other road. And we stayed on the bike path.
Yeah, we were supposed to stay on the bike.
No, we should have got on the other side of the road because it was straight and the sidewalk was straight. That's where we added
Yeah,
all of this
the
extra mile.
The underlying wines for sure.
It did, and that's
Yeah.
what we were like
Yeah.
whining in and out. And in and out,
So
and
we
in and
did
out.
go back to the sidewalk.
Yes,
Yeah.
there towards the end, and I wish we would have done that a little
Straight
earlier.
up. Yeah.
And so we
But
just
there
ran
were,
straight.
There were iguanas.
There
and it was
were
cool, and I was
iguanas, and there were
looking at them.
dominoes, and we looked at dominoes.
Yep.
And yes, but
So
we
we
did
were
run
on that for a little bit,
We did on
then-
that for a while.
Yeah.
and then we actually put some pretty decent miles in
Mm-hmm.
towards the end. I mean, we, I was looking at second place co-ed team, the Buenos, and when they came into aid station 3, they were almost an hour, probably 50 minutes to an hour ahead of us going into aid station 3. At the finish, they were 11 minutes ahead of us. So we actually made up some pretty decent time on them.
Yeah.
Nice.
On the last, 10 or so miles.
Yep.
So
Well, overall, y'all ended up placing.
we did. Yeah.
Good. Out of 3 co-ed teams, we got third.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm ever getting an award, by the way, is being the
believe,
last person standing.
Yeah. So there were 2 more teams, but they both DNF'd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? Like 6th team overall or something along those lines. So
Yep. Six.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
overall.
did great.
I was very happy with how we did. And I think it was just a bunch of fun.
Yeah, it was nice to rally.
So did you guys get out of it what you wanted out of it as far as, was it good training for your Badwater event coming up?
I am in 100% stress mode. I don't know. I don't know about this thing.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I know. I'm just in panic mode, and I don't know why. I'm usually not this
Well,
way,
it's-
but this one's kind of a big deal.
It's Badwater.
This is Badwater.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You're going to do hard things though.
Yeah.
Got it. You got it.
I'm already stalking the weather.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think that I always love the stories that come back from the Miami races, because everyone that goes down there and comes back, every time I talk to them, they have great stories from your events. So obviously you're putting on fun events. I follow people as they'll tracking their tracking their Strava or posting pictures, and there's always a lot of neat stuff that people are doing out on your races.
Yeah, it's very cool. We really enjoyed it, and we can't wait to do one of your races again. We don't know which one, but we're going to do one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Florida
All
Man,
right.
Florida Man
The
Challenge.
Florida Man Challenge.
Who wants to
There
be
you
Florida
go.
Man / Florida Man?
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Who's going to do it
Nice.
first?
Well, before we get out of here, Lewis, is there anything that we haven't touched on you wanted to talk about, or have we pulled all of the knowledge out of your head?
I doubt we've pulled everything out. I could talk forever, but I probably got to wrap this one up at this point. And like, I feel like whenever I do this, I kind of go roundabout, and I'm sure I leave a ton of things off and whatnot, but it was great chatting with you guys, and I appreciate you having me on and, shouting out the Miami Race Series and the 50/50. So
Heck yeah.
thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Go to our website, www.where'sthefinishpodcast.com.
Let's go.
It's 326 that runs. It's 326 by my house. But if you're going towards Interstate 75 by Jacksonville Road, they're building pickleball courts.
How do you say the name of that park over there by you, Joe?
Cohoja. I don't know.
Cohad Joe.
Cohad Joe.
It's Cohad Joe.
I don't know how to say it. Cohojo. Cohad Joe. I don't know.